Hello again, Lockpicking Paul here. And what I've got tonight is a Lowe and Fletcher lever cabinet lock. And despite its name, I believe these get used in garages. It's got a bit more going on about it than a regular cabinet lock, that's for sure. And a number of challenges associated with picking this lock. So it's for flat. First of all, it's for flat plate key type. There's the bitting there, and that's our first clue. We're going to have a challenge. There are 7 levers in this lock. 7 in a cabinet lock. Okay, most cabinets have 2, 3, 4 levers, or 3 or 4 pins. 7 levers says you really want to keep people out, and this is a good lock. It's got good tolerances. It's awkward to get at the levers. You've got this very long nose here. So I've got to get a tensioner down there, and I've got to get a picking wire down there, and we're dealing with a curtain. And that curtain, normally you'd have to use curtain wire, something that kicks up like this, so as it comes out, this arm here sort of reaches over and drops the other side of a curtain. Unfortunately, that keyway is very narrow, and you're very limited as to what you can actually get down that keyway. So I made a tensioner. This is basically a cut down second key that came with this lock. Just put this up here. You can see what I've done. Helps if you get it the right way around, doesn't it? So yeah, most of the key is gone, all the bitting's gone. That is my tensioning piece, and the nub at the end locates in that hole at the back of the curtain, and without that this thing goes all floppy, so you do need that. That drops down there like that, and then you've got to get your wire in. And now normally I'd use 1.6mm spring wire. 1.6 is just too big for this lock. I've had to drop to 1.2, and that's just as well because the levers are very narrow as well. 1.6 you'd end up lifting more than one lever. But the problem with this is the flex. That robs you of some feedback, and this lock doesn't give much feedback to start with, so reading the lock is tricky for sure. And that sort of slots in here. You've got to go in at an angle because it's too tall to go in flat. And you sort of have to scooch it down until it drops all the way to the back of that nose. And then you can rotate everything up onto the lock. So I'll show you that when we go to pick it in a minute, but that makes life really, really rather tricky. Why was I interested in this kind of lock? Well, this is a format of lock used quite frequently on dual custody safety deposit box locks. And I just wanted to get familiar with this format of sort of flat plate key lever arrangement. This has turned out, I think, to be quite a good training lock. So it's also a very fun pick in its own right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this set up in a vise, get that bolt hole blocked off so we can't see what's going on, and we shall get it picked and hopefully gutted so you can see the glorious levers inside. So I'll be right back in just a mo. Right, all focused in, bolt hole blocked off, all working. Let's get it picked. This is the tricky bit, getting the wire in. Okay. I just want to make sure I can feel the bottom of the levers. Yep, okay. Right, very, very light tension. Having to balance between enough to set the levers and not to bind the lock up. Very little feedback, just the tiniest movements in the curtain. Right, I think majority is set. Yeah, there we go. Open. Yeah, very, very subtle picking that. It's just, you've got to be ever so delicate. But pleased it's open. If only I could get the tools out. Which way does that want to be? It wants to be up that way. It's going to take me longer to get the tools out than it is to pick the lock, I think. Yeah, yes it is. Come on. Oh, right, I think if I do that, yeah, there we go, it's out. Let's get it gutted and have a good old look inside. So I have ground the rivets off, so I've just got it attached with a screw now. We can get this apart. Right, you've got to be ever so careful to take this apart without bits flying everywhere. Right. Some mechanism. Looks great, doesn't it? Okay, so this is the curtain, and you can see there really isn't much space between the levers and the curtain itself. So if I turn that back to the where I was picking it, my wire is coming out of that curtain slot. It's literally brushing along the bottom of these levers. There really isn't much space. Take that out. These here, this copper is the spring pack. Is that going to focus? Let's change the focus. So yeah, seven springs for the 7 levers. Right, and what we've got is a pin, which I'll take out, but just sits loosely between the levers to keep them all together. So lever 1, can't really see it too clearly here, but that is ever so slightly concave, and that's the resting point for the lever. Too much pressure on the bolt and it just wedges tight against these levers. So that's number 1. Number 2, no under part to the lever here, you've just got to lift this one out of the way. Number 3, yeah, it's a little bit clearer on the concave there. I think it's the last lever where it's most obvious. That's number 4. 5. Oh, come on, I'll take the bolt out. 6. And number 7. So yeah, there you go. The 7-lever Lowe and Fletcher, I'm going to say cabinet lock in quotes, but I think it's got allusions to be a safety deposit box lock. That is a lot of levers for a cabinet. All right, that's it. I hope you enjoyed that. Enjoy your picking. Cheers.